What's up, guys? All right, so today I'm gonna get under the car and just start wiring some stuff. Let me show you what I got. So the oil pressure sensor line is frayed, so I'm gonna go ahead and splice in a new connector for that and throw that on. Then I'm gonna throw the fuel pressure sensor on the rail, run a line back to the ECU through the firewall for that. And then I've got to make some changes for where a couple of the things are pinned, like the IAC and some coil locations and stuff like that. And I'm actually pinning the VVTi solenoid direct to the ECU as well. So I'm going to do some run some wire here in a moment. And in the process, might do a little bit of parasitic drain. So I figured I'd just get a quick little video so you guys can watch. So just a quick little tip. This is our little connector that I got on Amazon. It came with butt connectors, make things super easy. So I just stripped it with my wire strippers down there. And I have another sensor here just to show you. So in AEM's sensors, this is your ground right here. This is your power, and this is your signal. So I'm just going to go match those up to what's on the coming off of the car right now, and plug that right up. Alright, this is kind of what it looks like once I finished up just a couple butt connectors. Threw that on there. I'm going to throw that on the oil pressure sensor, which is on the fuel filter relocation kit. Sorry, oil filter relocation kit. There we go. But yep, under here, gonna finish that up, and they should be good to go. Next on the docket was taking the flex fuel sensor, that's my inline fuel filter, taking the flex sensor and pulling out one of the ground wire to chassis ground. All right, I'm gonna pick up more tomorrow. Wow, I got a bunch of crap on me. So basically, let me show you. Basically, I finished, so I've run new wire for the VVTi solenoid through the firewall here. I've run wire for the fuel pressure sensor, which I still need to, I can't get the Allen key thing off with my metric Allens. I guess it's a American Allen. So I ran all the wire and did everything on the physical chassis. So I ran all that through, and I am at the ECU now, just moving around some pins. This is my little chart kind of deal. Now my only thing that I just wanted to show you is I got this deep pinning tool on Amazon for, I think it was like 10 bucks. It's like, yeah, it's kind of expensive. It might have even been 14 bucks. I was like, man, it's kind of expensive. I hated deep pinning in this with this ECU. I thought it was the worst thing in the world. This, basically, you just, let me just do it and I'll show you. Throw it dead in between and it releases it. You undo the lock and it pulls right out. That made my life 100 times easier, and this whole job way more fun. So I'm gonna move some pins around and then take it from there. I'm also gonna throw a set of amp clamps on the battery from the inside because I had the trunk open last time, and that could have been waking the computer up. So I want to give it one more shot for a parasitic draw test. Let's give that a shot. All right, so I'm in the car. I'm sitting in the back seat this way. Because I figured this might have been the easiest way. Probably not. Before, when it was pulling 180 or so milliamps worth of draw, I had the trunk open, so I figured it had a module on. So shut all the doors, and I've been sitting here waiting for the modules to go to sleep, and I've got the amp clamp on the battery through here, which I'll show you right now. And let's see. So it's come down to a solid 130 or so. You can't really see because I got this light on it, but it's basically 130 or so milliamps worth of draw. So that's still some draw, but it's less than, now I've got a better accurate reading, so I know where to find my draw from. So I will go ahead and start looking under the hood to find out. All right, guys, so continuing on from yesterday, I was messing with the amp clamp in the back seat, trying to do some funky stuff to try and make that work. I went ahead and I snagged a draw monitor. Let me show you what this does. So obviously this is a mess right now because I'm wiring. I have so many different sets of wires coming into here. I'm going to do some splicing here in a minute and splice some things into some specific pin locations. And then I'm going to go, first I'm going to go in the bay and install the fuel pressure sensor and make sure my wire relays for the fans are set up right. But in the meantime, I'm going to show you what the draw monitor does. So here's the Power Probe draw monitor. I've gone and I've connected the draw monitor to the ECU through the OBD2 port. Obviously this is like a mess, like I said. And turned on the draw monitor. So right now it's just reading voltage from the battery. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna disconnect the battery. The draw monitor supplies 12 volts of power to the system so that if this was a newer car, all the modulars would be safe, all the radio settings, all that good stuff. But that doesn't matter to me as much. This is just so we can tell basically how much draw is pulling out of it. So let's go ahead and do that. So I have now unplugged the battery so that the only thing that's supplying power is the Power Probe PPDRAW monitor. And I've pressed the smart output button so that it retains and puts 12 volts to the car. So right now it's settling down, all the modules are turning off, and it's letting us know what my actual parasitic draw is. Such an easy little situation here. And it's going ahead and it's converting basically voltage drop to milliamps and amp draw. So 83 is more than the threshold. The threshold should be about 40. So right now this threshold set at 40 would give us a notification saying, hey, there's more of a draw than what you're looking for. Wow, look at that, 60. So that should be about exactly the amount of draw that's pulling from the radio that I tested earlier in the last video. So looks like it'll be easy. It's just a parasitic draw from the radio. So I'll go ahead and I'll start digging into what that is. But I'll let that settle for a minute and really find out, basically make sure all the modules are off, make sure this is the number. But yeah, 56 is actually not too bad worth of draw. So I'm honestly happy with that. That's a good way to see that. But I'm gonna let it chill for a moment. And I am going to go ahead and wire some things. In the meantime, I have got my wiring diagram schematic out for the engine control module and everything that's going on in the engine from the factory. This is upside down. And right now what I'm working with is I'm actually pinning the VVTi solenoid to the ECU. And I was just making sure, you know, which wire is which, so that I know polarity wise. It doesn't really matter because it doesn't care about polarity, but we want to keep it as close to OEM as possible. And then with the relay situation over here, I just want to look and make sure that I have everything coming correct from the fans so that I can pin it to the ECU in the right spot. And then the fuel pressure sensor, which I have wired up ready to go. Just need to actually physically attach it to the fuel pressure regulator right there. So also, since this is a new video, I do want to touch back on the going through the fuses with the DM300 Auto, the multimeter, to figure out what system is causing that draw and how you would diagnose that. Normally you could take any voltmeter and run across each of the fuses to see what voltage is coming off of what, and convert that to amps. So the way you would convert that would be using these Power Probe amp sheets. This is what that chart does, it converts that for you. But what's kind of tricky and what I wanted to show you is the DM300 Auto. So that all those charts are uploaded into this system. So let me show you. So like I said, all those charts are uploaded into the system already. So basically it just does that math for you. So instead of you having to go through with a multimeter and measure the voltage and go over here and say, okay, hey, yep, there's a 0.9 drop. It's a 35, it's a 30 amp fuse, whatever, it's 400 milliamp draw, whatever that might be. So instead of going through that, we can go through the chart. A few different options here. Each one of them is specific to auto applications, which I find super cool. So we're gonna go through the fuses, click that. And this is already an amp, so you can just go ahead. Last week I was struggling and I was using these probes and I was trying to do it with one hand and film with the other. Found out this is super trick. Basically, instead of these probes, we're gonna put these in there and it's an immediate, oh great, that's our deal. And if it's a bigger fuse, then you can go ahead and have that, and it's got every configuration for every type of fuse. So let me just show you that now. So basically, that pops off, throw your back in there, and then I'll do the same with the ground side. And bam, shabam, shabam, we're sick. Bam, bam, shabam, we're good. So let's go ahead and test out these fuses. Let me just show you the amp draw that's on the fuse monitor real quick. So just to confirm, that is our parasitic draw, 55 to 57 milliamps. And that's basically what we're gonna look for, is that 50 milliamps, but I think about a 30 is about right. So I think what I measured last week was about 30 milliamps coming from the radio. So that's our extra drain. Honestly, 50 is kind of within spec. So I could do nothing and be happy with it, but for the sake of tracking this down, we're gonna do it. I'm gonna run through it and I'll show you what to do. So here is our system. Let's go through each right now. Basically what we are on, we're on ATC. Let's go to mini. Now we're on mini fuse. And let's go through what is first. 7.5. 7.5 amp fuse. So great, 0 amps, that's what you want to see. Same goes for the other 7.5 amp fuse. There it is, 0 amps. So I'm going to go across and I'll show you which one it is. So just so you can see this, I'm on the 20 amp ECU fuse and it's pulling 20 milliamps. That's completely normal. It's on the ECU circuit. The ECU's up at all times. This is just doing body harness, alarm system, 20 milliamps, completely normal there. So I'm not going to worry about that. But what I am going to worry about is the 20 milliamps that is coming off of the 10 amp fuse for the radio. I actually should have a 20 amp fuse in there. Not that that would cause the draw. It would just pop sooner. But 20 milliamps is coming from the radio circuit. So everything else across the board was 0 except for the ECU. Totally fine on that front. So, okay, now that we know that there's 20 milliamps coming from there, that's our draw. I checked the parasitic draw thing again, and it says that there's 55 milliamps worth of drain. Now that I've gone ahead and I've confirmed that it is the radio, I would go ahead and I would consult a radio wiring schematic for the IS, which I've got right here, handily. And what I would do is I would start going to the fuse panel and start testing each of these and seeing which system is pulling that 20 milliamps. So I'm going to go through this and basically check that out, and then I'll know from there. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to wire that stuff up. I will do that once I'm back in the car, and I'm under there. I'm going to be sweating tonight anyway. It's hot, but yeah, having fun diagnosing. Cool that it's a small drain. That definitely makes me feel better. So yeah, that tool makes everything easier. There's a lot of uncertainty when doing it other ways. I honestly, if I was doing this every day, I'd get that shit all day. That way you can also communicate to a customer quick, hey, there's a draw. This is what it's looking like, and this is what I found out. Those two tools, the DM300 Auto and the draw monitor here, man, that stuff's the ish. So yeah, all right, moving on. It's been so long since we wired up my fans that I honestly don't know how the relays were set up. So this is a super great little visual. Kind of wanted to show you guys. So basically I was just running it. So this is the relay for the fans. I got both fans running to them. You got a fuse for both of them, shut right there. I have my signal going to the cabin through that wire. Basically pop this, pop the top. So basically I pop the top, you can go in and you can see what number each pin is, 30, 87, and you have 85 and 86. And then you can tell basically how that works is either this side is ground or this side is power. That doesn't matter, it just depends on how you wire it. And this is where the flow is going. And then the switch, whether you want it on a switch ground or switch power, is which side you put each input in, and the relay essentially just diverts power based off of the signal input that you put in. So I believe I have it correct where I have a signal going to the ECU. That signal will then trigger the bridge to open or close and turn the fans on. So that's a nice little visual to kind of show you how that works. But yeah, that's how that's wired. All right, I'm gonna call it for the night and just edit this video and have it out for tomorrow. So I pretty much got a good amount done here, just going through my list of moving some pin locations and splicing some stuff together. And I know it looks ugly still. Once it goes back into the ECU, it cleans up, and then that tucks up right under here real nicely. And I have places for all this, but I gotta throw the fans on still, and then I gotta throw the VVTi solenoid on, and then splice into AC to give that signal here. But most of the moving around is done. I know it looks ugly, but it plugs up nice when everything gets covered. So yeah, so that's finished, or at least I got a good portion of that done tonight. Just gonna do this in small doses. And then I did the fuel pressure sensor right there. Wiring's all ready for it, but I'm not plugging it up, so I don't remember. I have to tighten it. So that's on there. VVTi solenoid is done, and the fan wiring should be good. We're just gonna confirm that before I go ahead and tuck that away. But that looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. And making good progress. Excited. I like the wiring side of things, and it's a fun thing to keep learning and getting better at. And especially working at Power Probe now, I really have to dive in, and I'm really enjoying doing it. So and getting to know these tools a little bit better. So happy to keep showing you guys as I learn how the tools work. I feel like I've done a decent job. If you guys are confused in any way, just let me know, and I'll keep doing some reviews / little quick tricks to actually what you can apply to your builds. Rather than just like tech stuff. This is, I'm a DIY guy, so being able to apply that there is going to be nice and happy. So thank you for watching, guys, and I will see you next week. I'm putting the flip-ups back in the RX-7, so we'll have a video for that. And I've got actually a couple cool things in the pipeline. This thing should be getting done soon and getting ready to be retuned and just drive. So yeah, cool stuff on the horizon. See ya.